Welcome back to Love Daniela. Today is going to be an episode all about friendships, kind of navigating friendships, but also losing friendships. That's the main thing I want to touch on because I've been seeing a lot on social media when it comes to friendships, when to hold on, when to let go. And I feel like I have had a fair share of having to let go of friendships that no longer serve me. So I definitely want to make this a conversation because it can be a very confusing time when you are struggling with whether to let someone go or change your perspective on where they lie in your life. It's really confusing and it can feel like, am I the problem? Is it me that I can't be around people? Like, I've definitely been there where I'm like, why am I all of a sudden don't want to be around this person anymore? So we definitely are going to talk about that a lot in today's episode, but let's start with our highs and our lows. My high, guys, I'm no longer burnt out. I was burnt out for, I would say, like 3 to 4 weeks. I had extreme burnout. I don't know what was going on, but I could not get myself out of it. But I think the sun came out. I think that was the main reason, honestly. The sun came out. I have been feeling very motivated and I've been posting so much on social media again. I feel back in my groove. So the burnout is no longer. Obviously very normal when you do this, or even like any job. Like, I feel like it's very normal to feel uninspired at times, but we are on the road to recovering burnout right now. So that is my high. My low is definitely a bit of loneliness. I have been by myself for a few weeks. I also gave up TV, which may sound so stupid. And it's not like I gave it up completely. I'm just such a background show girl. I always have television in the background, especially reality TV. I love a background noise. And I also spend my whole day by myself in my apartment for the most part, where I'm working and filming and editing. So I think having TV and voices in the background, it makes me feel like I'm not alone. But lately it's definitely been hindering my productivity. So I have told myself that I don't get to watch TV until I'm done with work. At the end of the day, I can, while I'm eating dinner, put on one episode. Or when I get ready for bed and I'm laying in bed, I can put on one episode, but like 1 to 2 episodes. I'm such a binge watcher. I love finding a series that have like 10 seasons and I can binge watch and just have it on constantly for a month. That is my favorite type, but it's just like, I can tell it's hindering my productivity. So I did something about it and it's been like a week now. And I do feel like clear in the head. So it does make me feel lonely at times when I'm just kind of like working in silence and there's no noise. But I do think it's helping. So even though it's a little hard or it's a little lonely and I'm not in like an alternate universe where I feel like I'm like living with these people on my television, it's just what has to be done. Now let's dive into friendships. I've been thinking about this a lot and I have been seeing a lot of things on TikTok, on Instagram. I've just been seeing a lot of videos when it comes to friendships and people saying people let go of friendships way too early nowadays. It's like someone does one wrongdoing and you're so easy to cut them out of your life, which I like completely understand. I feel like there is like this cutthroat, like if your friend does not live up to all expectations you have in a friend, you just are so easy to let them go. But I do think that sometimes you outgrow friends. I think sometimes a lot of people hold on to friendships that have history because you are like, well, we've been together for so many years, like I can't just let someone go. So I do think that there's this like weird kind of balance. I don't think that you hang out with someone a few times, they do something that annoys you, and then you should just cut them off. I think communication is key. Just like communication is key in a romantic relationship, it's also key in friendships. You can't expect people to read your mind and know how you want a friend to treat you. You have to tell them if something hurts your feelings. You have to acknowledge that, hey, I know you might not have meant to do that on purpose, but that thing that you did honestly really hurt me. It is up to you to build that foundation to a good friendship. Sometimes it happens naturally, but sometimes you kind of have to teach someone like, hey, this is not cool for me. This is not acceptable to me. And if they don't then try harder in that friendship, then you can let go. But I think communication is the number one thing that needs to happen before you just cut people off there's no point in cutting someone off just from like one little thing, because then you're gonna have no friends. If every time you meet someone, I think everyone has qualities that like kind of annoy you, you know? They're not gonna act completely like you, so you're gonna be annoyed by something someday, and you just have to accept it or communicate if you're not willing to accept it. I also think friendships are so complex. There's this weird stigma that if you've been friends with someone, you will be friends with them forever. And if you don't have those like friends forever people, you're not a good person. And I do think that it is a red flag if I meet someone and they have no friends from like different walks of life. I do think that if someone I meet is like, I've had friendship breakups in every walk of life, like my high school best friend, then my college best friend, then my adult best friend, and it's like, okay, maybe look in the mirror. Like, I think it's a you thing, but I do think it's so natural to kind of move in and out of relationships. It's natural to be super close with someone and then your paths don't align. And I feel like people hold on so tight to these relationships, and I think that it makes it so you're not reaching your full potential, because when you're at a different walk of life and surrounding yourself with people that motivate you and make you feel good, that elevates you as a person, it elevates your life. And that doesn't mean you have to cut off the people that were aligning with you at the person you were before, but I think we should allow the space. If you're feeling like you're growing apart, allow that. Allow what's meant to be to be. I have always been like that, and I have a polar opposite sister, and so she's always like, is that not weird? Like, she'll talk to someone from like kindergarten and be like, oh yeah, I was talking to so-and-so from kindergarten. I haven't talked to her in 10 years. I was just reaching out to her. And I don't really have that like bone in my body. Like, I'm so just like, okay, we like grew apart. And then if things align again, where we run into each other and it's like you connect again, there's no bad blood. It's like, oh my gosh, we just grew apart and now we've been placed in the same thing. But I don't force connection just because there was history, I guess. And that doesn't mean I don't wish them the best. Like, I wish every person that has been in my life at different phases of my life the absolute best. I hope they're living their dream life. I obviously catch up with some people, and that is our relationship, is just catching up from time to time. Some people I've never talked to again, but I still look at their social media, and I think it's so cool that some people are moms now and some people are married, and I watch them from afar, and we're at completely different paths in our life, but that doesn't mean I don't wish them all the best. So I just think that people are a little different, but I am just like, I go with the flow. If the friendship isn't aligning, the friendship is not aligning, and that is okay for me. I think I also lose and grow apart from friendships when I grow. When I feel like I am growing into my next phase of life. So if I feel like I've been putting a lot of work into who I want to be as a person, I feel like I've been going through like a growth journey, because I feel like we're ever evolving. I always have the goal to grow as a person. That is my personal thing, that every year I'm like, how can I grow and be a better version of myself? Because it's ever evolving. So I think every time I step into this new version of myself, this new growth that I am trying to exude, a lot of the time you lose people that were in that phase of life. And I think that's completely normal, and I think that shows me that I am growing. If I was growing at every phase of life, and then all the people from stage one grew exactly with me, I would think to myself, I'm obviously not growing, because these people are staying the same and I'm still aligning with them. And I think some people will grow with you. I definitely think that's not like a myth. Some people do grow with you and grow at the same timeline, and it feels like, wow, that's so crazy that at every stage of life, we've always stayed really close. We've always had the same goals and aspirations. We've always motivated each other. I think it's very rare. So I think that percentage is really low. You may have a few people in your life that has always worked out with, and I think that's great. But if it's like every single person, I don't think that is possible. I think the statistics are very low. So I think it's a small percentage. So I do have that small percentage of people that I feel like have grown with me. But I also feel like your relationships kind of grow together and grow apart, and you have to give it that space. Sometimes I've been super close with my childhood best friend, where we talk literally every day. We're constantly catching up with each other. And then her life gets busy over there. My life gets busy over here. We don't talk for months. And then we're like, oh my gosh, we need to catch up. What have you been up to? I feel like giving your friends space to be and to live and not put so much pressure on relationships and let people move how they want to and don't force it. Obviously, it's great to be pouring into your friendships, but sometimes life happens, and having someone that understands that we're adults and sometimes it feels like the month flies by and it feels like 2 days, and you don't put that pressure on them and make them feel bad for living their life, especially long distance friendships. Long distance friendships can be very hard because it's on the phone. It's not like let's just catch up for coffee from time to time or let's go do something. You have to be very intentional with those friendships. So if someone is feeling distant or if they feel like they aren't responsive, that doesn't mean they hate you now. They just have their own life that they're dealing with, and sometimes that's just what happens. I've also dealt with weird energy. So I'll be friends with people for a while, and then you sense this like weird energy, this like energy where you can tell something's off, but it's not your responsibility to ask someone why they're being weird towards you. Because I feel like I have a very good intuition. I can tell when someone's being weird and it's a weird energy towards you, not like they're going through their own personal stuff in their life. Like you can tell this energy is only towards me. And I used to back in the day be like, oh my gosh, did I do something? I feel like you've been really distant, da 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 da. But now I'm at the phase of life that if you give me weird energy and you start acting strange towards me, and I can tell there's like little passive aggression and I don't like your energy anymore, I will exit. I will take a step back, because it is not my responsibility to beg information out of you. I feel like we are all adults, and if you got your feelings hurt, if you feel some type of way about a situation, you need to bring that to me. I do not deal with the weird energy anymore. I do not want that in my life. So if you give me weird energy, I'm out the door. I am not going to surround myself with people that do not know how to communicate properly, that do not know how to talk about how they feel, and instead they just give you passive aggression. I do not deal well with passive aggression, and when you're around someone, they give you like little smart remarks. Oh, that is not a person I want in my life. I do not like that. I'm not a kid, and that is not the treatment I want or the type of friend I would want that can't communicate to me and just starts being mean to me. That's just not the person I want in my life. And kind of playing on that, friends should not leave you feeling drained when you leave hanging out with them. If you are hanging out with people and every time you leave hanging out with them, you feel absolutely drained of all energy, they're energy suckers. They are not meant for you. I do not recommend surrounding yourself with someone that makes you feel awful. When I hang out with people that I feel genuinely myself, when I feel motivated and they're positive, I leave feeling so energized and so happy and so content with myself, my life. That is how you should feel. I'm not saying people don't have bad days. Sometimes you may have to be that person that your friend confides in to be a shoulder to cry on. And yeah, that may drain your energy. That is fine. You obviously, from time to time, things happen. Some of your friends may be in a negative mood from time to time. Like, we're all human beings. But if every single time you are hanging out with someone, you leave feeling drained, they are not meant to be in your life. And I stand by that with everything in my being, because that is not how any of us should be living our life. There's also this weird thing with competitive friends and friends that want to compete with you, and friends that aren't happy for your successes, just the friends that are unsupportive. That, to me, is the biggest red flag in a friendship. If I feel like you are trying to compete with me, you're weird. I am so supportive to my friends. When I see my friends winning, it's like I feel like I'm winning. I'm like, oh my gosh, my bestie boo did the coolest thing ever. Like, this is so cool, and I feel so happy for her. So if I am constantly pouring in good energy to someone, and then when I have things that I'm excited about or some successes that I've completed, and my friends are not supportive and not excited for my successes, That's weird. Even when I have been in the worst stages of my life or an awful breakup or anything along those lines, and my friend is happy and they are in a beautiful relationship, or they just found the love of their life, or they just got a raise and I'm not doing well, I am so happy for them. You can still kind of feel like, damn, like I wish that was me, but you should never show your friend that like underlying like, oh, like what it would be like to be you. Because I think that people sometimes do not know how to take themselves out of a situation. Sometimes you tell them what's going on in your life and they think they have it worse. So they're like, I wish it was like that. That is not how a friend should be responding. You could be battling the worst things, but you still should be listening to your friends and supporting your friends and being there for them, because there's no comparing what you're going through to what they're going through. This isn't a competition. We all are living our individual lives and we're all going through something. It may not be as big as what you're going through or vice versa, but you should be there for your friends. I also think that holding on to people that no longer align with you does nothing but make your life harder. If you are trying to force being in someone's life because there's history and you feel like that's what you're supposed to do, but you can feel that you guys are growing apart, I think that makes such a wedge in your life, because you're not allowing your life to move how it's supposed to. You're forcing things, and things that are meant to be do not feel forced. So if you're ever sensing that you're growing apart or there's something that your friend's doing that you no longer like, I think the first step is accepting who they are, because you can't change everyone. You can tell someone that something that they did hurt your feelings, but you truly can't change a person. Someone is only going to change if they want to change. So the first step is accepting them for who they are and then deciding where you place them in your life. So whether that's letting them go, like I can't deal with this energy anymore, I don't even want to be around this person, let them go. If that's placing them in a different category in your life, place them in a different category. I've had people that I'm super close with and I'm like, I don't want to be around this person all the time. I don't like the person I am with this person. So you can place them in a different part of your life. There's a different expectation that you have for best friends that you can just sit on the couch and do nothing with, for friends that you catch up with from time to time, to friends that you just club with or you just go on a walk with. You can put friends in different categories that serve your life, because if you're trying to put someone that is negative, that doesn't support you, that drains your energy, and you're trying to put them in your best friend role, that's never going to work. You have to fit the people as they are into the categories in your life. There's all different categories and you kind of have to do that. That's what I've done to make myself feel better, because sometimes I feel like I've put people at high pedestals in my like friendship ranks, and they don't live up to best friend role. So I don't know why I'm placing them there. So you kind of have to place them in your life so that your expectations aren't tested. If you have high expectations for someone that's never met them, why? You should place your expectations, not what you think they're capable of, but what they've shown you. If they've only shown you that they show up for you from time to time and they catch up with you, but they aren't always available to you, don't put them at the top of your totem pole. Like, place them where it makes sense in your life. I hope that made sense. That's like what makes sense in my head, because I really had to do that. They were kind of all just one group. It was just like friends. And I feel like to help myself, I have placed people in different roles in my life, and I feel like my relationships have thrived now because I don't put someone that I can't rely on the top spot, you know? But I've been thinking about this a lot, that I would rather spend my time alone than spend my time with people that do not make me feel good about myself. I would so much rather do things by myself, live by myself, and sometimes feel lonely rather than being around people that don't align with me. So I wrote a list of my top things in friendships, what I look for in a friend, things that make a good friend to me. So I wrote a little list. Loyalty. Loyalty is probably number one. I am such a person that if I care for you deeply and we are close friends, if you hate someone and someone did you dirty, they might as well did me dirty. I do not deal with people that say, well, they didn't do anything to me, because I am so protective to the people that I love. So I am loyal to my core when it comes to that. And people that aren't loyal, especially when you're in a relationship, your partner should be protecting you. Your partner should not be around people that you couldn't be in the same room with. That is weird energy. And I feel the same way with friendships. I want a loyal friend. 2 is trust. I want to be able to vent to a person or confide in them with information and not feel like they were going to go to someone else and tell them what I said. I want to be able to trust them and trust that I can open up to them. Then we have positivity. Obviously, you're going to have negative days. You're going to have days where you feel like the world is crumbling around you. But positivity is such an amazing quality for someone to have. And it is so easy to slip into a negative mindset when you're around negative people. So I try my hardest to be positive, to view life with the glass half full, not the glass half empty. And I want people surrounding me that also view life the same, because life is short and I do not want to be sitting there moping the rest of my life. And sometimes bad things happen, but when you view life in a positive way and think that everything happens for a reason, life is so much better. So I want people around me that kind of have that same mindset. Next is morals. Morals are very important. I know when it comes to politics and all of that, people say do not let politics affect your relationships. I don't agree with that. If our morals are not aligning and you don't have the biggest stance on things that are happening in the world, you're weird. I don't align with people that don't have strong morals and strong empathy for people. So that's just never going to work. Next is motivation. I want motivated people that are always trying to grow and evolve, whether that's in their personal life, in their business life, but people that are motivated, I love being around. I do not want to be around lazy people that don't have aspirations in life, because you are who you surround yourself with. So motivational people. The last thing is supportive people. As I told you, supportive friends are important, and if your friends are unsupportive, they're probably not a friend to you. They're probably jealous of you. So supportive people is very important to me. So we're going to end that off there. I want you to comment down below. What is your number one quality that you look for in a friend? Out of everything that I said or something I didn't say, what is the one quality that you personally look for? I'm really interested, so definitely comment that or DM me if you want it to be anonymous. I would love to hear. But that is everything today. I love you guys so much. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment. If you're on Spotify, Apple Music, all the streaming platforms, definitely like it. I love you guys so much, and I will see you next Thursday.